Interest rates are at a 22-year high right now. They're fluctuating between 7 and 7.5%, depending on obviously your credit score or the amount of down payment. So, with an interest rate environment such as we're in, a lot of people are choosing not to sell right now because they don't want to give up their 3 to 4% interest rate they currently have on a mortgage in order to sell their house and purchase a new one. If they're going to have to take out a mortgage, they don't want to give up a great interest rate for a mediocre interest rate. But we do still have people selling their home right now. So what motivates people to sell in a higher interest rate environment? And that's the great thing about real estate is people are always going to have the need to sell and people are always going to have the need to buy. So sometimes it just means upsizing or downsizing. We're in the month of September. The kids that graduated high school are now going off to college. And so if you've got that large family home that's maybe 4,000 plus square feet and the last child has left the home, so to speak, and you're now an empty nester, you may look at downsizing your home because you don't want to keep up the maintenance on that home. You're not using the home, all the rooms in it. You don't want to pay the electrical bill costs. So there's a lot of different reasons, whether you're upsizing your home, downsizing your home. Maybe you got married a couple of years ago and now you're expecting your first child and you're like, this house is not going to be big enough. So that's always a reason that people will buy or sell. They need to upsize or downsize. Job relocation. We have a lot of manufacturing industry here in Morristown. We have a lot of healthcare here in Morristown. And so people are always relocating because of that. We have a lot of people that move in here and then some people are getting relocated. So depending on their situation, if they're getting relocated for their job, they may have to sell their home and it doesn't matter what the interest rate is right now. Another one would be a change in neighborhood preferences. So maybe you bought a house and it was great when you first bought it. You love the neighborhood, but you've been there for 5 or 6 years and now there's just things you would rather be closer to. You'd rather be closer to a park, or you'd rather be closer to all the coffee places that are coming in across town. You just decide this is not the neighborhood I want to live in forever. So sometimes it's just a simple thing like the neighborhood. You want to be closer to amenities, or maybe you're tired of the development and you want to move farther away from some of the amenities in town. Sometimes people sell because of financial constraints. So you do have a job, but maybe you lost that job and you've had to take one that has lower pay. And now the mortgage payment that you have, you're struggling with. So you may just need to sell the house and go back to renting, or sell the house and try to downsize and find a smaller home that fits within your budget now. Sometimes people sell for retirement planning reasons. If you're retired, and again, it comes down to the empty nest thing, you've got this huge house, you're not going to be there because you and your spouse plan to travel, and so you're only going to be there maybe 6 months out of the year. That's a good reason to sell because you don't want to have to upkeep that home and you're not going to be using the home near as much. A desire for change. Some people just like to move, which blows my mind because I hate to move. The whole process of having to pack and do all that can be very overwhelming. But some people like to do that. I know a girl that trades cars, I swear, like every 12 to 18 months because she just gets tired of driving the same thing. So some people just get tired of living in the same house and they just want something different. So they sell their home, they buy a new one. And sometimes it's just a personal preference. Some people buy a split foyer home and they don't think about the stairs situation immediately. But then after they've been in the house for a year or 2 years, maybe they've had a kid and they're just tired of it. They're tired of having to haul the groceries up the steps. They're tired of having to carry that toddler up and down the steps. So their life has changed, and therefore the house that they want to live in, that has changed as well. And then you're always going to have life events like marriage, divorce, death. Maybe a grandparent died or a parent has passed and you need to sell that house that they lived in. So there's a lot of different reasons that even when interest rates are high, people are going to have to sell their home. Now, are we in a tight inventory environment? Absolutely we are. Because right now it's typically going to be the people who have to sell or have a strong desire to sell that are going to list their home. But if you have one of these circumstances going on in your life and you think, you know what, maybe I just need to bite the bullet and go ahead and get my home sold, feel free to send me a DM or leave a comment below. I'd love to have a conversation with you about how you can reach your real estate goals.